In this video, I'm going to talk about what Meet Kevin left out in his video about the coming massive crypto bull run and his plan, and how he's getting into, he wants to basically dive deep into Ethereum and Cardano, but he's trying to wait and hopefully see some downturns before he kind of jumps in and really buckles up. But what I wanted to talk about is actually this other momentum. As you know, cryptos have been taking an absolute dive. We kind of looked at currencies over the last 1 week. We're seeing some massive dives from Bitcoin, Ethereum, and just all over. We're seeing some pretty solid declines, right? There's a couple in there that are positive, but overall, as a market, we're seeing declines, kind of like how we saw tech just getting hammered. And now it's kind of crypto getting hammered as things go from kind of one industry to the next to kind of correct what has been a massive bull run lately. But overall, right now we're seeing some pretty serious decline. And Kevin's talking about, okay, when things decline further, I'm going to jump in. And what I wanted to talk actually about is Graham's video that he just made on why the stock market just flipped. So a very big lever that basically is inversely related to the stock market is this idea of inflation. As inflation goes up, as costs of products and services go up, the stock market tends to go down. And inflation, we've seen pretty massive numbers coming out from things like lumber or maybe housing or things like gasoline. And a lot of that is short term because we actually know the issues. We know the shortages. We know the random incidences of the canal being blocked or different issues that have stopped the flow of supply. But there maybe is a bigger looming issue on inflation. And there's been a lot of kind of rumors going around on what's going to happen when all this inflation data comes out. And the Fed is trying to kind of make everyone chill and relax and saying, you know what, inflation's not going to be an issue. However, we printed around 20% of our total dollars in the last couple of years from all the stimulus and everything like that. So inflation could be around the corner. But what happens when there is some serious inflation? Well, there's still always going to be this balance of different assets doing well under different environments. One of those assets is gold. Gold does really well under things like inflation. That is actually the main purpose of having gold, is a store of value in case of massive inflation, because your gold is a limited supply and it doesn't inflate like the dollar will when people just print money. Something else that is digital gold is Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is also something that is going to benefit with inflation, and yet we're seeing some massive downturns with Bitcoin, even though all this inflation kind of data and fears are maybe at an all-time high, right? The idea of buy the rumor, sell the news would be buying Bitcoin now with all of the rumors and fears of inflation, and then selling it at the top when actual maybe some data comes out and the fears maybe aren't maybe are bigger than the reality. Usually what happens is our expectations are bigger than reality, and so usually we get super excited about something, and then the news comes out and maybe that's the sell-off, right? We get so excited about SNL and Elon and Dogecoin, and then SNL happens and there's a sell-off. So what this is saying is technically the opposite should be happening, right? Bitcoin should be going up, 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 but it's not. So let's look at a massive catalyst for anything crypto. So if you're looking at Meet Kevin and you're seeing his interest in buying different cryptos, you kind of gotta look at one of the biggest crypto, I don't want to say manipulators, but one of the biggest crypto motivators, let's say, is Elon Musk. So Elon this week is probably one of the biggest catalysts for the massive downturn in crypto and specifically Bitcoin. So if we look, and again, with different industries, usually things follow a trend, right? If Bitcoin is going to get hammered, often the industry sees the same thing, right? People pull out of crypto kind of all over. People pull out of tech all over. People pull out of value stocks all over. And then as things rise and the tide switches, then it kind of goes the other direction. Even though it's strange, but you know, the coins do have some competitive features, right? If Bitcoin goes down, you think, oh, maybe Ethereum is going to go up. But that's not the case in this scenario. Ethereum's not hit as hard from Elon's tweets, but it's important to realize what happened. So if we go back in time here, and we'll kind of read between the lines, if you're familiar with some of Elon Musk's latest tweets about crypto, we're going to try to read between the lines to get a better idea of what's going on. So it all started after the SNL monologue. So Elon did not do the best job of pumping Doge with the SNL monologue. And right after, he says, do you want Tesla to accept Doge? With 78% saying yes, with 3.9 million votes. That's some serious amount of people on there. And this gets the Dogecoin supporters pretty excited and pumped. And shortly after is the tweet that kind of caused it all. Tesla and Bitcoin with something that he was written out and then posted with 500,000 likes, which is pretty impressive. Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. So cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at the great cost to the environment. Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we tend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more sustainable energy. We're also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction to actually get the transactions done in the mining. So what he's saying right here is Tesla no longer is accepting Bitcoin for Tesla purchases. Before you could buy a Tesla with Bitcoin, but he's still saying, hey, it's a good idea. Now, there's a lot of speculation about, did he sell and did he pump up Bitcoin? I had a friend text me and saying he's manipulating the market, and I'm like, well, he owns 1.5, or Tesla owns 1.5 billion in Bitcoins. It's quite a lot to kill the coin value. And he said, no, it's because he's trying to buy more. So whatever your confirmation bias is and whatever you're looking out for, we'll kind of dig deeper in here. So this is clearly some worry. And he follows this up with an image of the energy usage, which is pretty staggering how the energy usage to the electricity consumption for Bitcoin is skyrocketing. It's insane. But here's the kind of thing that I found is a little strange. The trend over the past few months is insane. So he's trying to limit this to maybe it's the last month or so, maybe 2 months, maybe this is after Tesla made the decision to buy into Bitcoin. But you know, these are things that I would think he'd be able to see and to be able to kind of visualize. On the other side of that, you know, you have ARK Invest saying basically that Bitcoin does not consume as much electricity as the competitors, which would be like traditional banking or gold. And you can kind of think of it like this. Traditional banking does consume a lot of electricity because if you want to bank, what are you going to do? Maybe you're going to go to the gas station. You got to fill up your gas tank. You got to drive over to the bank. Of course, there's online banking, but still there's a lot of employees. There's a lot of electricity that goes into every single aspect of that banking. And Elon's had a weird relationship with Bitcoin. It seems to be love, it seems to be hate. I think Elon is he's definitely pro crypto overall, but he's also pro the environment, right? And he says it's high time there was a carbon tax, because this is the real issue. It's not that there's a lot of electricity usage for Bitcoin transactions. It's not. The issue is that people are burning coal and they're not using renewable energy for electricity as much as he'd like, right? So if there's a carbon tax, the way that works is you tax carbon usage and carbon emissions rather, and that way, as people pollute more, because it's maybe still efficient for them to use non-renewable energy sources, there is at least a tax which enables the more renewable energy sources to become more and more cost efficient by comparison. So this is really the issue, and Elon has a massive foothold on cryptocurrencies, and so he wants to make sure, hey, look, I strongly believe in crypto, but it can't drive an increase in fossil fuel usage, especially coal. So he's pro crypto, but here is where he's really hurt the market. And then a couple hours later, boom, a big positive jump for Dogecoin, working with Doge devs to improve system transaction efficiency, potentially promising. So here's the thing with Dogecoin. Dogecoin is really efficient for transactions. And there's a difference between security of Bitcoin and the speed of transactions with Doge and the efficiency of the electrical usage for every Doge transaction. You have to understand though, however, you know, getting Dogecoin and transacting it might be more efficient, it's really going to be harder for Tesla to accept Doge as a form of payment because of the volatility. So there's a very big difference between store of value and the stableness of it, right? And then transactional efficiency. So I see that this would be very hard until there's at least some more stability with Dogecoin. I think it would be very hard because if they accept Dogecoin for a Tesla and they make, say, a 25% market margin on each vehicle, well, they got to maintain that 25% margin. If Dogecoin drops by 25%, which, it's not unlikely for it to have massive fluctuations, it dropped 15%, even with Elon kind of pumping it a bit, but the massive volatility is going to make it very, very hard for Dogecoin to be around. Now, of course, Bitcoin does have some volatility as well, but there's also maybe an extra layer of security with Bitcoin. And the Dogecoin volatility, though, is going to be very, very hard with especially those people at the very top of Dogecoin with the concentration, with the top person owning a huge percent of Dogecoin and having some potential volatility issues. So with all of this, Elon says, don't panic. With the don't panic display here on the Roadster that is in space, taken from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. As always, don't panic. He's very pro crypto, and I think the future is crypto, but the short to medium term is going to be very, very hard to guess what's going to happen, right? We have inflation, we have potential no inflation long term or less inflation, and maybe this was just a weird bump. So if that happens, what's going to happen to the price of Bitcoin? What's going to happen to the price of crypto as an industry? A lot of things are grouped together. So as the industries kind of fall or rise, so do a lot of the companies or the coins within that industry. So hopefully this was helpful to kind of get an idea of some different things going on. I am personally getting more and more into crypto, and I'm kind of on the same page as Kevin here. I am waiting for a maybe a bigger dip to buy in. But the saying, don't time the market, it's about time in the market. I have an automatic payment from Gemini. So every 2 weeks, I'm buying Bitcoin and Ethereum just automatically. I need to do a bit more research on some of the others that might be contenders for this transactional piece that we're starting to see might be an issue with Bitcoin. And the mining companies are also getting hit super hard in the stock market, but it's going to be an interesting ride. I just want you to realize that there's a lot of different momentum pieces in play. There's also these catalysts with Elon controlling kind of a lot of influence here. So of course, dollar cost averaging is a way to get in without getting screwed, and you can always buy the dip when you see it. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what cryptos you're watching, what you're interested in, and I will see you soon. See you later.